Morning, good morning. Oh, thank you, Kathy. That sounded pretty good. That's hard to follow now. um, Resolve and resolution, they're the same root. And when we think about New Year's resolutions, it's like we're all excited and we want to go for it. And some of us succeed. Very few, though. What is it about resolution or resolve that we start out so boldly and it doesn't go very far? It's like hopping in a new car and not knowing where the gas tank is and driving off, and then it stops. There was no gas in the tank, not for the whole journey. So when we talk about resolve, we can say it's willpower, yeah. It's commitment, yep. And Marilyn, in her musing, said, firm determination. I'm going to add to that by saying resolve is firm, unwavering determination. When you catch a spark and that spark really starts to get to you, and then it turns into a flame, and that flame, it becomes a guiding light. So the idea is we've had sparks all through our lives. And the thing is have they been nurtured? Do we remember them? Or does the grit of the journey cover up those sparks that have been guiding us? We forget. And it's okay to forget. There's an inhale and an exhale for every breath. It's okay to forget. But can we remember? And that's the most important part. My sense is that resolve is not about free will. It's about catching that spark. And there's sparks around all the time. And it depends upon your interest. Some people will wake up in the morning and say, I want to go to New Zealand and start a chinchilla farm. Other people, that's not their first thought when they wake up in the morning. Where do these interests come from? Some people will go, I want to start a yoga group, and I'm 80 years old. Okay, that's not for everybody. So if you look at your own interests, can you honestly tell yourself that, yeah, I will that interest into being, or did the interest find me? Chances are you became interested and you don't really know how or why. Doesn't matter. There's an interest now. That's the spark. And when that spark is nurtured, it grows. It grows into a flame. So if you think about the spiritual journey, somewhere along in your childhood, chances are there was an interest. And if that spark took hold in your heart, let's say, as opposed to your mind, that has led you all the way through to where you are today. But there's a difference between catching the spark in the head and catching the spark in the heart. The head, is sort of the book learning side of it. And you get all kinds of principles and things to do and spiritual practices and all this wonderful stuff. And you can get paraphernalia and zafu cushions and altars and bells and that's great. And that's a wonderful foundation. But until the spark jumps from the head to the heart, it doesn't go deep. It doesn't go into the core. And the core is that alone quiet place where there is no distinction, where there are no religions. It all disappears into the quiet. And from that place, if we're lucky, that spark resonates, that spark resides. And if we know that spark leads us, chances are, into continual inquiry into what is true, what is real, and what am I doing here? How can I be a more beneficial presence? How can I bring the kingdom or love into not only my life, but the life of others? And to remember that, what is our calling? What is truly important to us? To remember that and to keep that before us. Wow, that could be our guiding light. However, the grit and the dust of the journey and raising children or business or all of the activities in life can hide that, can just be like bugs on the windshield. Over time, if you never clean the windshield, it's harder to see and harder to see. I've been blessed with a brother-in-law, and I've talked to you about him before, Peter. I call him Saint Peter. And, well, there's the story. A little bit background, though. He has run across the United States raising money and awareness for global hunger. He has run 50 marathons. He's a bicycle racer. He has competed in like 24-hour marathons. I mean, he's a beast, just a beast. Talk about resolve and determination. Amazing. He started a world organization, Global Partners, that he was director for 25 years. He's done amazing work in Africa. So he gets sick over the holidays. It's Christmas holiday. Gets pneumonia, doesn't think anything of it. It's a cough, but he gets septic. And then one morning, he wakes up and he can't move. And he is really sick, and nobody knows how close he was to death. So they rush him to the hospital. Oh, yeah, you're sick. Put him in ICU, antibiotics, this and that. And he tells the story of being there and losing his will. He was so sick that he didn't care anymore whether he lived or died. And he just laid there. I don't know if you can imagine what that must feel like, where there's just no direction. There's no up or down, just, I don't care. And we see these people from coming, soldiers coming back from war, people who've suffered great trauma that can have that traumatic reaction. And so here he is. This is like 4 days in, and the grandkids come to him, and he can barely move, barely talk. And they say, Grandpa, when are you coming home? Can you imagine what happened? Mm-hmm. Something sparked. And what came back to Peter was, who do I want to be in the world? What do I want to live? What do I want to leave? How do I want to live? And those questions came up, and that was the beginning of the spark. Who do I want to be in this world? Well, as you can imagine, he started to get better. Something returned, a vitality returned to the whole system of his body. It was like, okay, time to go. And a couple days later, he was released, and he barely made it into the house with his walker. This was a runner now, and he's on a walker, can barely move. And he knows from past experience that he needs to set a goal. And he's not sure what that goal is going to be, but he needs to return to his health, and he needs to be there for the grandkids and for himself, and actually for the world also. And so he sets a goal. He says, I'm going to ride the terrible 100. That's a bicycle race that has 9,000 feet of elevation. It's 100 miles long. It's a beast of a ride. He's done it before, but so he knows it's within his grasp. It's doable. He's not attached to the results, but it's a goal that he's going to set forth. This is how we build resolve. You take a look at your experience. Yeah, I can do it. I've done it before. It's reasonable. Okay, now do I have gas in the tank? I don't know, but I'm going to go for it. And I've got the courage, because I've done this before. I'm going for it. So within a month of walking around the house, he's now on his bike and he's starting the training process. And it's not going good. But going up those hills and practicing, because he has to do his elevation, he has to get his lungs back, he's thinking, actually, he's not really thinking. There is something that's sort of pulling him along, pushing him along. And that's the resolve, that inner resolve. Call it what you like, but he caught the spark. And the spark was growing. He also asked for help. And he asked for help by reaching out to people all throughout his life. And he knows so many people. Donate to me as much as you can for a good cause. I'm going to do this, and you can support me by donating. Yep, Peter, sign me up for 1,000. We're going to do this together. And he said, yes. He ended up raising $23,000, completed the ride, and it was a win, and he's back. This is resolve. Now, once that's kind of that resolve to really live an elegant life, a life with meaning and purpose, that needs to be cultivated, and that needs to be nurtured. And so, it takes integrity when you speak that you're going to do something. I'm going to ride 100 miles. I'm going to complete this. He didn't know if he was going to or not, but he had experience because he has completed so many things in his life, and he's trustworthy, not to somebody else, but to himself. If you're trustworthy to yourself, that inner integrity, and resolve and integrity, they're roommates. They go together. So when he speaks his word, I'm going to do this, the universe listens. The spark listens. Everything within him listens and aligns to complete that. The thing is, if you haven't practiced that, if you haven't practiced following through on what you're going to say, and being careful with your words, you haven't built integrity. So the idea of building integrity by performance, by completion, by whatever it takes, it's important. Are you, when you say you're going to be at some place at 9 o'clock, are you there at 9 o'clock? Simple as that. Start with the little stuff. When you say you're going to do something like show up at the Home of Truth every Sunday and do the announcements and do the singing and do everything that it takes to run a service like this. It's an amazing amount of resolve, an amazing amount of commitment. This is the commitment that's unwavering, just unwavering. And so, there's one more part in the Peter story. Towards the end of the ride, there's the crossroads. One crossroads completes the journey of 112 miles. The other one completes the journey at exactly 100 miles. So which way are you going to turn? You're at the crossroads. You're going to go for the big kahuna, the big prize? Or are you going to feel what's right in the moment? This is courage now a little bit, because what if I make the wrong decision? What if I listen at the crossroads of all of our lives? When we make that decision, when we lean this way or that way, what's guiding us? And for Peter, it's what am I feeling? Am I done? Do I want to go the full distance? Or do I want to take the shortcut? And I am so proud of him that he took the shortcut. I am delighted that he took the shortcut. And he is delighted he took the shortcut. He said, I'm done. I did it. And I have never been more happy taking the shortcut. I gave myself permission for the first time not to do the big boy run, or maybe the ego run, but I took this way. And it wasn't because it was easier, it was the right thing to do. For my body, for my health, and for all of that. And so when we set out for our resolve and we're going to do some completion, are we listening all the way through? Are we going to go for the big boy, or are we going to take the shortcut because it's the best thing to do today? And what he learned from that, speaking with him about this, I'm going to have to give him credit for the talk. He said, I learned at the crossroads that both ways are okay. I can learn either way, by completing the journey or by taking the shortcut. And so when we come to a crossword puzzle, pick on the easy words. So when you come to a crossroads and you're there, which way to go? Both are okay. You can't go wrong with either of them. If you're awake and alert, you will learn from both. So it's okay. And the clue here is the non-attachment piece, is not being attached to the outcome, but being attached to the quality of the journey. And we forget that. So in the idea of resolve and moving forward through resolve, can we look at the quality of the journey, not just the destination, not just completing it? And if we enjoy the journey, we will enjoy whatever destination we arrive at. And so with that, we're going to get to our affirmation. Today, I vow to listen to my heart, to catch the spark of what is next to do. I vow to take on the challenge and to ask for support as needed. I allow the resolve within to do the work, and I give thanks for all my blessings. And so it is.